Okay, good afternoon, students. Am I audible? Okay, let's wait for 2 more minutes before the others join. Okay, students. So just confirm me again that my voice is audible. Yeah. Okay. Good. So in yesterday's class, we have discussed about what are the various types of MAC protocols, and we saw there are three categories. Let me show the diagram one more time for you. Yeah. So as you can see here, uh, the protocols, the medium access protocol, which is also called as multiple access protocols, are categorized into three categories. Okay. So we are here in random access protocols. So random access protocols, as the name itself indicates, so they completely work without any coordination, completely on random nature. Okay. So uh, in our last class, we discussed about Aloha protocols. Now in this class, we are going to see CSMA protocols. Okay. So I gave you a small introduction regarding how the CSMA protocol works in our last class. Okay. So as you can see here, in Aloha, we assumed that when a system A sends some data, everyone else will immediately know that A is communicating. But in real time, the communication will not happen like that. If you look here, so here, as you can see, the x-axis represents hosts, okay, and the y-axis represents time. So as you can see here, at a time that is, let's say, by mistake it is given here, t1, B started sending its information. So at time t1, B started sending its information. So forget about all the notations that are shown here. Just follow my, explanation. So when B started sending the information travels in all the possible direction. That means if it is a wired medium, the information will go in both directions. If it is a wireless medium, the information go in 360 degrees completely in all directions. So the information at t1 seconds, it will be only there at B. Okay. Now let's say the first bit is 1. So first bit is 1 at t1, only B can see that 1 is transmitted. Okay, later after a fraction of second bit was released. So the first bit travels further. Okay, so now B can see 0, and if there is a system just immediately after B somewhere here, it can see 1. Okay, then after again a fraction of seconds, B transmitted the third bit. Let's say B transmitted 101. So the information will travel like that. So first 1 transmitted, then 01 transmitted, then 101 transmitted, then let's say 1101. So first 1 transmitted, 1 moved further, then 0 came from your system to the medium, then these two moved further, then 1 was released by system B. So these three moved further, then fourth bit is released by system B. So like this, the information will be going in both directions. Now, C can only see the information of B at this instant, let's say T3. So the information started at T1 and C can only see the information at T3, where D can only see the information. Means I am not saying the entire information. It can only see the first bit at T3 instant, then the second bit, then the third bit, then the fourth bit, then the fifth bit. Like that, the information will be coming one by one. So this ribbon, okay, the ribbon from here to here is the complete data of B one by one with respect to time. So at T3, D received the first bit. At T3 plus, let's say 1 second, D received the second bit of B. Then D received the third bit of B. Then D will receive the fourth bit of B. So like that, it will be receiving each bit one by one. Now, as I said previously, so in carrier sensing in carrier sense multiple access protocols, you are going to sense the medium. Okay, so this is also called as listen. Sorry, here I already showed. So sense before transmit, which is also known as listen before talk. When you want to speak something in a shared room, you need to first listen with your ears whether someone else is already started the speaking, the discussion or not. If no one else is started transmitting, then you can start. Now, even though B started at T1, C will only know that B is communicating when C sees the first bit of B. So C first bit eppudu chustundi, here it will see the first bit of C. So here that means, let's say it is T1 dash. So T1 దగ్గర start చేస్తే పంపించడం, C can only see that at T1 dash. Now within this time, within the time, the gap between T1 and T1 dash, if C listens to the medium, what it will see? Will it see that the medium is already occupied, or will it see that the medium is free? ఇప్పుడు నేను చెప్పేది అర్థమైందమ్మా. T1 dash కన్నా ముందు C కనుక మీడియం ని సెన్స్ చేస్తే, అంటే మీడియంలో ఏదైనా సిగ్నల్ వస్తుందా అని వింటే, దానికి బి పంపించిన సిగ్నల్ కనిపిస్తుందా కనిపించదా బిఫోర్ T1 dash? నేను మీకు లాస్ట్ క్లాస్ లో చెప్పిన ఒక సింపుల్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్ అమ్మా. సో ఇమాజిన్ a car started from B at T1 seconds and it can only come to you at T1 dash seconds. Now before T1 dash, if you look on the road, will you see the vehicle that is started from B? So T1 dash వచ్చే వరకు ఆ వెహికల్ మీ దాకా రాదు. So when the vehicle is not yet reached to your location, you can't see that vehicle. You can't even know that the vehicle has started. So what you will assume that road is empty. In the same way, here if C senses that, so before C listens to B's voice, before the B's voice reaches to C, if C senses the medium, C will think that the medium is free. So as per this principle, so since the medium is free, you will also start transmitting. Okay, so if both people started transmitting, what happens? Em jarugutundi? If both people started transmitting without knowing that the others are already transmitted, so what happens? What happens to the data? So collisions, right? So clumsy, one person gave me the answer clumsy. So yeah, so collisions will happen. So unlike our real-time road transportation, when two vehicles bombards at this location, the vehicle stop there. But here what happens is, so the data coming from, let's say B is communicating with D and C is communicating with A. So when B data receives to D, along with B data, C's data also received at this location. So here D will hear both both B signal, C signal. So from this point to this point, so here to here, D will hear both B's and C signal. In the same way, from here to here, A will hear both B signal and C signal. So when you hear two signals, you can't separate them. So when you can't separate them, what happens is your entire communication was lost. Okay, so is it clear about what is the drawback of this carrier sensing approach? So now, so because of why we are getting this means your communication is vulnerable within a specific time window. So you need to assume the maximum possible vulnerable time. So let's assume a system that is one end of your communication medium, that is the wire, is communicating with a system that is on the other end of communication medium. Okay, so A is communicating with D here. So A started sending its call, that means the data, at T1 seconds. Now it will only reach D at T2 seconds. Okay, that means D will only know that the medium is busy at T2 seconds, even though the medium is busy from T1 seconds. So this window is a vulnerable window because say D has some data to transmit to B. Now within this window T1 and T2, in between T1 and T2, somewhere here, if D senses the medium, what it will see? It will see that the medium is free. So since the medium is free, it will think that it will assume that I can send the data, so it will send the data. So what happens? So D can't listen. So A's data is coming. So D is sending at the same time. So D's data and A's data will mix here. So A's data will not reach D and D's data will not reach B. So that is the problem. So the worst case scenario is when A is transmitting, if what is the probability of D is transmitting, how much time we have the vulnerable time. So as you can see here, this is the vulnerable time, which is called propagation time, TP. Okay, so the time taken by one bit uh, to move from one location to another location is TP, and this time is TFR, the time taken by a system to transmit its frame. So ఇక్కడ స్టార్ట్ అయ్యి ఇక్కడ ఎండ్ అవుతుందంటే దాని మీనింగ్ ఒక ఫ్రేమ్ ఇక్కడ స్టార్ట్ చేయడం పంపించడం ఇక్కడ స్టార్ట్ చేస్తే we closed sending that frame here. So T1, let's say T1 dash. So TFR is equal to T1 dash minus T1. So TP is equal to T2 minus T1. So remember these two terminologies, propagation time and frame time. Okay, so the vulnerable time for the CSMA protocol is propagation time. Okay, is it clear up to this particular point? I repeat, is it clear till this particular point? Guys, respond in the chat box. Is it clear or not? If it is clear with you, I will move to the next slide. So we saw a drawback. So how to overcome that drawback, that we are going to discuss now. So to overcome that drawback, we have multiple mechanisms. Okay, so the simplest mechanism which will not overcome the drawback is the first mechanism. See, so the mechanisms are called persistence methods. Okay, so the mechanisms are called persistence methods. So what is meant by persistence method? So as you can see here, we have three persistent methods. So the first one is called one persistent, the second one is called non-persistent, the third one is called p-persistent, which is actually somewhere in the middle of one persistent and non-persistent. So as you can see here, so you are a system, so you want to send some data to someone else, so you listen to the medium. When you listen to the medium, if you are able to hear to the other's voice, so what you will do, you will not send your data, but you will continuously listen to the medium. సో ఇక్కడ ఏంటంటే అమ్మ మీరు మాట్లాడాలనుకుంటున్నారు, సో మీరు మాట్లాడాలనుకున్నప్పుడు ఒకసారి ముందు మీరు వింటారమ్మా. సో యు ఆర్ గోయింగ్ టు లిజన్. సో if you listens to someone else, what you are going to do is you are not going to stop listening, you are going to continue listening till you will stop hearing the other person's voice. When you stop hearing the other person's voice, then immediately you will start saying. Okay, so that is clear, very simple one persistent method. So why we are saying this one persistence, because once you see that the medium is free with probability 1, you are sending the data. So you may be getting a little bit confusion about why I am saying probability 1. So if you toss a coin, how much probability is there to get heads? I repeat, when you toss a coin, how much probability is there to get a head? So it is 1/2. Now, if the coin is biased in a way that the probability of getting head is 1, means whenever you toss it, you will get head. Yes or no? A biased coin where the probability of getting head is equal to 1. That's what I said. What is meant by that? Whenever you toss the coin, you will always get head. You will not get tails. Yes or no? So here in one persistence, this one stands for that probability. So in one persistence, this one stands for the probability. So with how much probability you are going to send the data. So as you can see here, as long as you are listening to someone else's voice, that means the medium is busy, you will not stop listening. But once the medium becomes free, immediately you will start sending with 100% probability. So మీరు పంపించే probability chance ఎంత అంటే 100% అన్నమాట. Okay, so in this mechanism you are not overcoming the drawback. So why I am saying drawback? See, at this point you may think that the medium is free, but so at this point you may think that the medium is free, but someone else may already started sending the data at this point. Okay, so you will only get the data after some time, but within that time you already transmitted your data. So your data and their data will be colliding with one another. Okay, so that is about one persistent. Now coming to non-persistent. So non-persistent, in non-persistent what happens is, see, continuously sensing means you are wasting your resources. So మీ సిస్టంలో మీ మొబైల్ కానీ లేకపోతే if you take any device which is having some communication module, it is going to spend some power for even listening. సో మనం వినాలి అంటే వినడానికి కూడా కొంత ఎనర్జీ కావాలమ్మా, ఈవెన్ ఫర్ హ్యూమన్స్. ద సేమ్ వే ఫర్ సిస్టమ్ to even sense the medium, it needs some energy. So if you don't want to avoid, if you don't want to waste that energy, what you can do is, when the medium is busy, what you are going to do is, when you have some data, first you will listen to the medium. If you think the medium is busy, so what you are going to do is you are going to sleep. So you are going to sleep for random amount of time. Then again you are going to wake up and you are going to sense. Then again you are going to sleep if the medium is busy. Then again after a random amount of time you are going to wake up and you are going to sense. Okay, so because of this, one thing is your resources will be conserved, saved. And second thing is, since you are adding a random parameter, so random amount of time, so random amount of time, so no two persons can't choose, will not choose the same random number. సో మీకు 1 to 1000 నెంబర్స్ ఇచ్చి ర్యాండమ్ గా ఒక నెంబర్ చూస్ చేయండి అంటే, there are around 100 students in this class, you can say there is 0% chance that almost 0% chance that two persons will choose the same number. Yes or no? నేను చెప్పేది అర్థమైందమ్మా. when I give you 1000 numbers, and if I ask you to choose, every student to choose one number, it is almost 0% probability to get the same number by multiple students. Yes or no? So here, say there are A, B, C, D, 4 systems. So this busy is because A is transmitting data. So here A is done with transmitting the data. So ikkada A అయిపోయిందమ్మా. So immediate గా medium free అవుతుంది. But because of this randomness, maybe B will sense here and D will sense here. So immediately what happens? D will started transmitting the data. Okay, now the medium again becomes busy. So B will further delay its communication. So D ఇక్కడ పంపించేస్తుంది, ఇక్కడ ట్రాన్స్మిట్ ఇక్కడ సెన్స్ చేసిన B కి బిజీ అని వస్తుంది. So immediately what D will do is it will continue this operation. Again wait for random amount of time. So this allows us to overcome the drawback that we just discussed, vulnerable time. Yes or no? But we are adding one more drawback, that is maybe some systems may stuck in infinite loop. So any number of times if they try, someone else may be occupying the system because of their lesser amount of time. Okay, so is it clear with non-persistent and one persistent? If you are clear with these two things, then I will move to P persistent. Now coming to P persistence, so in P persistence you are going to depend on a random number. So if P value antena avachama, this P can be, if this P becomes 1, then you can call it as one persistent. Okay, so let's say P is equal to 0.5. So what happens is A, B, C, D are there. A is occupying the system medium, so B wants to send some data. So B will continuously sense the medium. Then once the medium becomes free, B is going to generate a random number. So random number. So this random number will be compared with this point. So if your random number is less than 0.5, you are going to you are going to send the data. If your random number is greater than 0.5, you are going to wait for a specific amount of time. Okay, then again you are going to sense the medium. If the medium is free, again you are going to generate a random number. If the medium is busy due to someone else is already started sending within this gap because of their random number, so what happens is again you are going to continue waiting. So you are going to wait for certain amount of time, then again you are going to send, then again based on this random value you are going to decide whether you can send or can't. Okay, so that is P persistent. So is it clear with these three persistent methods? I repeat, is it clear with these three persistent methods? Now these are the flowcharts of these persistent methods. So as you can see, if the medium is in this one persistence, so if the medium is free, then so medium is busy, you are going to check. If the medium is not busy, that means it is free, station will transmit. Otherwise it is continuously going to do the same thing. Okay, that is one thing. And in non-persistent, if the medium is busy, then wait for random amount of time, then again do the same process. Okay, but in P persistent, so this is the logic. So if the medium is busy, continuously sense the medium till the medium becomes free. But when the medium becomes free, generate a random number. Okay, if this random number is less than your P, okay, then the station will send the data, or else it will wait for a slot. Okay, after waiting time it is going to sense the medium is free or busy. If the medium becomes free, then if the medium becomes free, then you are going to go back here and you are going to generate a random number. If the medium is busy still, then it is going to further wait. So we are going to discuss about this backup process in the next slide. So no worries about this. ఇక్కడ మీకు ఏం జరుగుతుందో అర్థం అవుతుందమ్మా క్లియర్ గా? సో ఇందాక మనం డయాగ్రామ్ లో చూసినట్టు ఎప్పుడైతే మీడియం ఫ్రీగా ఉంటుందో, ఫ్రీగా ఉన్నా సరే ఇమీడియట్ గా పంపించకుండా ఒక ర్యాండమ్ నెంబర్ జనరేట్ చేసి దాన్ని బేస్ చేసుకుని మనం డిసైడ్ చేస్తాం పంపించాలా వద్దా అని. సో దీనివల్ల ఏమవుతుందంటే దిస్ ర్యాండమ్ నెంబర్ విల్ నాట్ బి సేమ్ ఫర్ ఎవ్రీ యూజర్. సమ్ యూజర్స్ విల్ గెట్ some users condition will be satisfied and some users condition will not be satisfied. So because of this, some stations will be allowed to transmit, whereas the other stations will allowed to wait for some amount of time. Okay. So how good the CSMA method is, that you can see from these particular graphs. So as you can see in this particular graph, generating this graph is completely out of our scope, but you can understand, you can study how these different p-values will affect the CSMA's performance. So as you can see here, this is what pure Aloha and slotted Aloha's performance is compared to pure Aloha and slotted Aloha. All the CSM approaches gives better performance. So as you can see, this is one persistent. So one persistence is the least throughput approach in CSMA. Compared to this one persistent, the best value you can get is when the p value is very small. When your p value is very small, then your throughput is very high. So your throughput is almost 1 mm. At infinite level, it will reach 1, but it is almost 1. Not exactly 1, it is almost 1. Okay. So in CSMA, we have two approaches actually. So the one is CSMA/CD approach, another one is CSMA/CA approach. So if two approaches enduku ante simple ga cheptunanu vinandi. I think I have added the diagram. Yeah. So A, B, C are here. A is speaking something and C is speaking something. Okay. So from this location to this location, we will hear two voice. Okay. Miku, we will hear two people's voice. So A మాట్లాడుతున్నాడు, C మాట్లాడుతున్నాడు కాబట్టి B కి ఇద్దరు వాయిస్ కలిపి వినిపిస్తున్నాడు. Now my question is, the intensity of that voice, the mixed voice will be same as one person voice, or it will be double to one person voice. ఇప్పుడు నేను ఒక్కనే మాట్లాడుతుంటే మీకు వినిపించే వాయిస్, నాతో పాటు ఇద్దరు మాట్లాడుతూ వినిపించే వాయిస్ ఇంటెన్సిటీ సేమ్ ఉంటుందా, డిఫరెంట్ గా ఉంటుందా? I repeat, the sound intensity that you hear when when two persons speaks will be same as one person or different? So it is going to be different. Now, will the difference is higher or lower? That means if one person is saying, let's say 10 decibels, everyone is familiar with this term decibel, right? So decibel is used for voice sound intensity. Now say when one person is speaking, that means generating the signal, he is generating 10 decibels. If two persons is speaking, how many decibels you will get normally? Those two persons are just standing beside you. నేను చెప్పేది అర్థమైందమ్మా? సో ఇద్దరున్నారు, సో మీ ఇంటెన్సిటీ డబుల్ ఉంటుందా, ఆఫ్ ఉంటుందా? మాట్లాడేది ఇద్దరు అయితే. Guys, respond in the chat box. వాళ్ళు ఏం మాట్లాడుతున్నారు అనేది పక్కకు పెట్టండి అమ్మ. They may be speaking, I mean, you may be able to distinguish those two people's voice separately, or it may be some gibberish. But what I am asking is, will you at least hear double intensity or same intensity or half of the intensity of the actual single person voice? ఒకళ్ళు మాట్లాడితే వచ్చే ఇంటెన్సిటీ కన్నా డబుల్ వినిపిస్తుందా ఇద్దరు మాట్లాడుతున్నప్పుడు, ఆఫ్ వినిపిస్తుందా, సేమ్ అదే ఇంటెన్సిటీ వినిపిస్తుందా? Am I asking any difficult question? So most of you people are saying double, but one person is saying half. So just imagine. So there are two persons. Say, since you are all students, just tell me one. Let me tell you one thing. So you have done a mistake. So your mother started scolding you. Immediately, your father also joins your mother, and both started scolding you. ఒకరు మాట్లాడేటప్పుడు ఒకళ్ళు అరిచేటప్పుడు ఎక్కువ వినిపిస్తుంది, ఇద్దరు అరిచేటప్పుడు ఇంకా ఎక్కువ వినిపిస్తుంది, తగ్గుతుందమ్మా. So that double, as you can see here, so normally in wide communication medium, you will be transmitting 5-volt signal or 3.3-volt signal. So this signal is 5 volts, let's say. But when there is a collision, so collision jarigindamma, from here to here there is a collision. From here to here there is a collision. So because of that collision, you will hear double signal. That means you will hear a signal between 0 volts to 10 volts. Yes or no? సో ఇక్కడ మీకు మధ్యలో కొన్ని గ్యాప్స్ ఉండి ఇక్కడ ఎలా ఎందుకు చూపిస్తున్నా అంటే, లెట్స్ సే A is sending some information to B. That information is 100100101. Okay, so and C is sending some information to B. That information is 00111101. Now, if you look carefully, we previously discussed that there are different encoding mechanisms. Let's go with one encoding mechanism. Plus 5 volts for 1, minus 5 volts for 0. So what happens? First plus 5, minus 5, both will get cancelled and 0. Then minus 5, minus 5, so minus 10. Then minus 5 and plus 5, that means 0. And plus 5 plus 5, that means 10. So like this, the signal that you get when there is some interference is in between minus 10 and plus 10. Okay, so depending on encoding mechanism. In the same way, in some encoding mechanisms, what happens is 1 chooses 5 volts, 0 chooses 0 volts. So 100101111, 011011110. So as you can see here, without collision, what you will hear is 500505555 or 055055550. So this is how much voltage you are going to get. Okay, so let's say this is that energy, so 0 to 5. But now because of the mixing, what you hear is 555 5 5 10 10 5 5. ఓకే, సో మధ్యలో మీకు కొన్ని టెన్స్ వినిపిస్తాయి, 5s వినిపిస్తాయి, 0s కూడా వినిపిస్తాయి. సో మీకు ఇక్కడ వచ్చే సిగ్నల్ మొత్తం ఒక క్లమ్జీ సిగ్నల్ ఉంటుంది, వైడ్ మీడియం. అర్థమవుతుందా? సో మీకు కొలిజన్ జరిగింది అనడానికి ప్రూఫ్ ఏంటి అంటే, వెన్ యూ హియర్ మల్టిపుల్ సిగ్నల్స్ టుగెదర్, మల్టిపుల్ ఇంటెన్సిటీస్, దట్ మీన్స్ మోర్ దెన్ సింగిల్ సిగ్నల్. సో మోర్ దెన్ సిగ్నల్ అంటే 5 volts కన్నా ఎక్కువ వినిపిస్తే దాని మీనింగ్ ఏంటంటే you got some collisions in your medium. Okay, so this is suitable for wired mediums, but this approach is not suitable for wireless medium. So as I said previously, so in wide medium, when there is a collision, you can hear 0 to 10 volts, for example. Not exactly 10, normally it will be in 0 to 9 volts because of attenuation. So A is here, B is here, C is here. Okay, now A started sending the data to C. In the same time, B also started sending the data to C. So this data from A will reach to you. So here, if you look from here to here, you will hear only B signal. From here to here, let me draw it clearly. Let me take the whiteboard since the space is not enough. So A is B, C, D. So A started sending the data. Okay. So A wants to communicate with C. A wants to communicate with C. So it started sending the data, but the data will not stop at C. It will go further. So it will reach to the other end. That means let's say D. Now D started sending its data somewhere here since the medium is free. So now the data will go like this. So the lines are not straight, but so as you can see here, now I am dividing this time into 3 factors. So T1, T2, T3, T4. You can T1 and T1 to T3, D signal is there. T2 to T4, D is getting A signal. So if T1 to T2, so T1 to T2, D can hear only its own signal. Yes or no? T1 నుంచి T2 వరకు D కి వాడి వాయిస్ తప్ప వేరే వాళ్ళ వాయిస్ వినిపించదు. ఎందుకంటే మిగిలిన వాళ్ళ వాయిస్ ఇంకా అక్కడ వరకు రాలేదు. డిస్టెన్స్ ట్రావెల్ చేసి. Are you people getting what I am saying? So from T1 to T2, D can only hear its own voice, its own signal. Now from T2 to T3, D will hear D signal plus A signal. I put A dash. I will tell you why I placed A dash. Okay. So T1 to T2 only D signal. T2 to T3 D signal completely plus A dash. Then T3 to T4 A dash. Yes or no? So D కి వినిపించేది అదేనా కదా? Now this A dash means the transmitted signal may be 0 to 5 volts, but when it reaches to the other end, it will be only in between 0 to let's say 4.5 volts. ఎందుకు ఈ reduction ఎందుకు కనిపిస్తుందమ్మా? I think in our second unit we have discussed the concept. So when you are sending data through a medium, signal through the medium, signal will weaken because the signal will lose its strength as heat or magnetic fields through the medium. What is that? What property is it called? What effect is it called? So what it is called? I got only one answer from Sriya, I8. When a signal travels through a medium, the signal intensity will be lost bit by bit. So it will be losing its intensity. So it may be started with 5 volts, but when it reaches to the other end, the intensity may be 0 also sometimes. So what is this effect is called? I got 2 answers. Now I got multiple answers. Yeah, good. So it is called attenuation. Now, my question. We have two types of medium, wide and wireless. In wide and wireless, attenuation is same or different. So నాకు 10 meters వైర్ ఉందమ్మా, 10 meters వైర్లెస్ సిగ్నల్ పంపిస్తున్నాను. సో రెండిట్లోనూ అటెన్యూషన్ సేమ్ ఉంటుందా, డిఫరెంట్ గా ఉంటుందా? I repeat my question. I have 10 meters signal transmission through wide medium and wireless medium. Now the attenuation is same in the both mediums or different? So I got 3 answers. Guys, respond. So as you people are saying, it is different. So all mediums will not have the same attenuation. So some mediums will attenuate the signal less and some mediums will attenuate the signals more. Now my question is, in which medium the attenuation is more and in which medium the attenuation is less in this wide and wireless category? So in which medium the attenuation is high and in which medium the attenuation is low? Match this. Again, I got one answer. What about the remaining? In which medium the attenuation is low, in which medium the attenuation is high in wide and wireless? I got 2 answers. Okay, simple ga cheptanu inkoka vidhanga. We have LAN cables, right? And we have Wi-Fi signal. Wi-Fi falls under wireless, LAN falls under wide. Now can anyone tell me the answer? Which one is more and which one is less? Guys, are you able to hear me? Am I audible? So can anyone tell me what is the maximum range of Wi-Fi signals in your mobiles? Or in your laptops? What is the maximum range of Wi-Fi signals? So I got my answers from some of you guys. So the matching is like this. So wide medium has less attenuation. Wireless medium has high attenuation. Okay, now, so in Wi-Fi, for example, if you take that, I mean, the normal range of a Wi-Fi signal is normally 10 meters. Okay, so let's just imagine yourself, you are here and B is there on the other end of the medium. So the medium is a wired medium and a wireless medium, and the distance is 10 meters. So A started sending 5 volts, B started sending 5 volts. So the wide attenuation is 10%. In the wide, the attenuation is 10%. That means when the signal goes from one end to the other end, the signal will be lost by 10%. Now, if B, when there is a collision, if B hears both A and B signals, how much voltage maximum you will hear? ఇప్పుడు ఏ 5 volts పంపిస్తుందమ్మా, 10% లాస్ అయిపోయింది. 10% లాస్ అయిందంటే మీకు ఎంత మిగులుతుంది? A signal is 5 volts. Out of that, 10% was lost in the medium as attenuation, okay, as a heat. So how much voltage of A will be getting to B? So I got answer from one person, 4.5 volts plus how much voltage of B will be getting to B? B wise B కి ఎంతలా వినిపిస్తుంది? 5 volts completely. Say you are speaking something, your friend is just beside you and he is speaking something, so you will hear your voice completely, whereas you will hear your friend's voice with a little bit less intensity. So total 9.5 volts. Because of this logic, you can use collision detection method in wide medium. Now coming to wireless, the attenuation is something like it will be 80% by the time the signal reaches to B. So A is transmitting 5 volts. Now how much signal B will hear from A? If the attenuation is 80%. So if A dash ఎంత ఉంటుందమ్మా ఇక్కడ? It is 1. And your signal which is released to the air, if you sense that again, you will not be hearing 5 volts. So you will be hearing something like 4 volts. Even me voice meeke clear ga full fledged ga వినిపించదండి in wireless media. So what happens is total 5 volts, which you can't use for error, I mean collision detection. So are you people getting this? So what is the main problem in wireless medium in terms of collision detection? So the main reason for all this discussion is, so CSMA protocols, that is carrier sense multiple access protocols, has two approaches, CSMA/CA, CSMA/CD and CA. CSMA with collision detection and collision avoidance. Okay, so collision detection means, so you are not going to rely on the receiver. So normally when you send something, you are going to wait till you receive an acknowledgement. But in collision detection, you are not going to wait for an acknowledgement. So you are going to confirm yourself whether there is a collision or the signal is transmitted successfully based on whether you are hearing your own signal or two signals or more than two signals. So if you can only hear one signal for your entire transmission, you can say, so there is no one else is transmitting, so only your signal is transmitted, so the other person can only hear your signal, so no issue with that. So that is how you are going to use collision detection. In collision avoidance, since you are not able to detect collisions, the only mechanism you have is try to avoid collisions. So how we are going to avoid these collisions? So we need a different approach compared to CD. And what to do if there is a collision, even though you try to avoid it? So this becomes a little bit complex approach because you are trying to avoid, and you can't say, even though you try to avoid accident, you can't guarantee that there will be no accidents on the roads. So even though everyone tries with 100% of their knowledge that there can be no accidents, traffic police, road transportation departments, even each and every person who is driving, everyone is prepared not to do any accidents. Still there will be some accidents happening on the roads. Yes or no? Why? So no one can predict what happens when you travel. In the same way, no one can predict what happens when you send your signal. So there may be still some chance to get collisions. So what to do when such collisions happens? How to know that the collisions are happened? సో డేటా పంపించాం, మనకి మన సిగ్నలే మనకి పూర్తిగా వినిపించదు, అవతల వాడి సిగ్నల్ అసలు వినిపించదు. సో కొలిజన్ జరిగిందని ఎలా తెలుస్తుంది? So all those mechanisms we are going to discuss in CSMA/CA protocol. So first we will start with CSMA/CD protocol. So as you can see here, to detect collision, so immediately when you hear a collision, you will stop sending the data. Okay, so in CSMA/CD, the first thing is, if there is a collision, stop immediately. Okay, so A started sending the data at T1, C started sending the data at T2, but at T3, C can see that it is hearing two signals. One signal is C signal and another signal is A signal. Okay, so because of that, it will see that, okay, there is a collision, I need to stop my transmission because there is no need to send the remaining data. మీకు ఫస్ట్ బిట్ కొలిజన్ జరిగిందని తెలిస్తే ఇంకా మిగిలిన డేటా పంపించాల్సిన అవసరం ఉందా? You want to send a frame, the first bit of your frame was corrupted because of this collision. Is there any need for sending the remaining frame? Even though you send the remaining frame to your destination will try to detect whether there is some errors or not. So it will detect the first bit of the frame was corrupted. So if it is an error detection mechanism, what it is going to do is it is going to drop the entire frame and it is going to ask the sender to resend the frame. So if you really want to resend the frame, then what's the need for continuing your transmission? So there is no need to continue your transmission. You can stop immediately. So at T3, C stops its sending its data. Now this signal will reach to A at T4. Okay, so T4 time దగ్గర A వరకు వస్తుంది. Now A will hear A signal plus the received signal of C, A plus C dash. So immediately A will stop sending the data. Okay, so that is how this CSMA/CD protocol works. So is it clear? How the CSMA/CD works? Guys, respond in the chat box. So let me explain the same one more time. So A started sending the data at T1. So the data will reach to C at T3. The first bit of A will reach to C only at T3. Now, before T3 at T2, C also sending the data, started sending the data. Now, at T3, C will hear both C signal and attenuated signal of A dash. So immediately C will stop sending the remaining frame. Since it knows there is a collision, there is no need to send the remaining frame. Okay, it can retransmit the entire frame later so that it won't waste its resources. Now, this frame, this part of the frame of C will travel in the medium. At T4, it reached to A. So at T4, A will hear its own signal, let's say some 100th bit of A, and it will also hear C's first bit. C's first bit with some attenuated intensity, let's say 4.5 volts, and this is 5 volts. So 9 volt signal A gives signal. When A hears these two signals combinedly, it will stop immediately sending its data so that the resources will not be wasted. Okay, so that is how CSMA/CD basic working will be happening. So is it clear? I repeat, is it clear? So this is the flowchart of this CSMA/CD protocol. Okay, so carefully go through this flowchart. As you can see here, always you need to retry whenever you find out some collision. Okay, so how many number of times you can retry? So that depends on this k value. So this k counts how many times you are trying. So first we will start with k equal to z. Then you will apply one of the persistent methods depending on your configuration. You may be using one persistent, or you may be using non-persistent, or you may be using p persistent with certain p value. Okay, then using your persistent method, you are going to send the data. You are going to send and also receive. So you are going to transmit and receive. So transmitting means sending your data, receiving means listening to the medium continuously. So when you transmit, if you are only receiving your own signal, then there is no issue. Okay, so transmit and receive. So if there is a collision during your transmission, or you are done with sending your data, then you are going to move further. Otherwise, this loop will repeat. If your data is not yet completed and there is no collision, then you are going to send till you finish your data transmission, or there is some collision. సో ఆ లూప్ అలా తిరుగుతూనే ఉంటుందమ్మా. ఏదర్ మీరు పంపించడం అయిపోవాలి, లేదా మీ డేటా కొంచెం లాస్ అవ్వాలి, కొలిజన్ జరిగి. ఏదో ఒకటి జరిగే వరకు ఈ లూప్ లో తిరుగుతూనే ఉంటుంది. Once you are done or there is some collision, you will check whether there is a collision or not. If there is no collision, means obviously you are done. Okay, that means success, end of the probe. If there is a collision, so when you find out that there is a collision, you need to intimate the same to everyone. Okay, so what you are going to do is you are going to send a jamming signal. So a jamming signal is used for telling everyone that I started sending my data, but I got a collision because of one of you. Okay, so to tell that you are going to send a jamming signal. So this will intimate the others that okay, because of our transmission, someone else has lost their transmission. So immediately after this, you are going to increment k. Then you are going to check whether you reached the maximum number of tries. So in CSMA/CD, the maximum tries is 15. Okay. Then after this, since you found out that there is a collision, maybe someone else may started within that time. So you are going to create a random number of a random number r, and you are going to wait for a random amount of time tb. So tb will depend on r value. Okay, it will be r into some fixed amount. So based on which how much r you generated, that much time you will wait. Then again you will repeat this process. Okay, so this is called CSMA/CD approach. Okay, so is it clear? Is it clear with this diagram? If you are clear with this flow chart, then I will explain these terminologies and all. Now, this R value, how much R value can generate, that depends on in which retry you are. If your K is 0, if your K is equal to 1, your R value is between 0 and 1. If your K is 2, that means if you are retrying for multiple times means there is someone else who is also sincerely trying to send the data. Because of them you are getting collision, so you need to wait for more time. So say if your try number is 10, your r value will be 0 to 2 power 10 minus 1, which is very high. Okay, so your r value can be some thousand, for example 10,000. So 10,000 into tfr time you are going to wait. ఓకే, సో మీరు ఎన్నో ట్రైలో ఉన్నారనే దాన్ని బట్టి అంత ఎక్కువ టైం వెయిట్ చేయాల్సి వస్తుంది బ్యాక్ ఆఫ్ టైం. సో టీబీ స్టాండ్స్ ఫర్ back of time. So that back of time is equal to r into tfr, where tfr stands for your frame average transmission time. So average transmission time, as I showed that in our previous diagrams. Okay, so as I said, k is the number of items, r is the random number. Clear? Now what is the minimum frame size in CSMA/CD? So the minimum TFR must be equal to 2 TP. Why? So A is transmitting. Okay, now A started transmitting at T1. Okay, that means this is TP, and let's say A's frame size is very small. A's frame size is very small. So it started sending at T1, it ends at T2. Okay, so TFR is equal to T2 minus T1. That is, let's assume that TFR is less than 2 into TP. తక్కువ ఉంది అనుకున్నాను. ఇప్పుడు ఏం జరుగుతుందంటే worst case scenario, B is on the other end of the medium. B also started sending the transmitting some data at the just before it receives A's first bit. So it started somewhere here. So it is T3. So here B will here at this location where B received signal of A and its own signal, it will stop immediately. Okay, but A started sending its data and A is done with sending the data before it even listens to B signal. So A కి ట్రాన్స్మిట్ చేస్తున్నంతసేపు వింటుంది కదమ్మా, ఆ విన్నంత టైంలో వేరే వాళ్ళ సిగ్నల్ ఏమైనా వినిపిస్తుందా? Within this window T1 to T2 will A hear someone else signal, that is B signal? So within this window will A hear B signal along with its own signal? No. So in terms of A, the transmission is successful. Yes or no? కొలిజన్ జరిగిందన్న విషయం తెలియదు ఏకి, ఎందుకంటే అది ట్రాన్స్మిట్ చేస్తున్నంతసేపు దానికి ఏం వినిపించలేదు. The reason behind this is this one, TFR is less than 2 into TP. Instead of that, if TFR is equal to TP, 2 TP, that means 2 TP means up to here. So your frame transmission time TFR will be in a way that even though someone else who is on the other end of the medium just transmits a fraction of second before he receives your data, still you will hear both of your signals at some point, that is at the end of your transmission. So that is only possible if TFR is equal to 2 TP. Okay. So that is what you are seeing here. TFR is equal to 2 TP. So that is about CSMA/CD protocol. So in CSMA/CD protocol, the maximum throughput that you will get is up to 90%. That means when you transmit 100 packets, you can get up to 90 packets delivered successfully without any collisions when the G value is between 3 and 8. That means 3 to 8 packets are transmitted in one packet window on average. When all the systems in the medium works like that, there is a 90% chance that all the packets, 90% chance that your packets will be delivered to the destination. Okay, so that is about CSMA/CD protocol. So I'm going to stop here. If you have no doubts, you can leave the session, otherwise you can stay and ask. Okay, I'm closing the session.